If you all haven't already created an account, what I'm going to be doing is talking about Copilot, but I'm also going to be talking about Magic School. So I'm going to give you the link to Magic School just to give you some time. If you want to create an account, you just use your school credentials for the PSJA credentials that we have, and you should be able to log in. Just while we wait for people, if you want to go ahead and log in, just to have a little heads up. And I'll probably put the hyperlink a few more times as other people kind of roll in if it gets lost in the chat. So you'll build a small profile if you do click on the Magic School link. If you haven't used it, I know we did it a lot during curriculum with our coordinators and the curriculum writers. It's something that we implemented, I think, in all core subjects. And I'll explain what it is in just a little while before giving too much away. But just if you want to create a profile and you just want to look at the chat, you can go ahead and take a look. It just takes about 1 minute to register, just using your school credentials. It just asks you what role you are, if you're a teacher, administrator, and the capacity of what grade you teach and the subjects that you do. I even had I also had a teacher last session. She was a PK3 teacher and first year teacher, and what I found was Magic School was extreme. She found it extremely beneficial. She was texting me later on because she's pretty new, and it basically guides you. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what Copilot does as well, and how you integrate basically both of them together. All right, I'll give it like another minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I know it's the afternoon. We all just had lunch and stuff like that. So I'll try to keep this upbeat and try to keep your attention throughout the hour. And another person asked me, how do you access Magic School without clicking this hyperlink? If you simply just use your browser and you just search on Magic School AI, that's another way to get into the site, and then you can bookmark it. So if another teacher was having difficulties, she was like, well, what if I can't use this hyperlink anymore? You can go ahead and just look it up. Our district has currently a license with it. It might not be there for so long. And I'll kind of explain the differences between what we have now as the premium version versus the free version, which we're going to have to use as soon as the school, basically our school schedule starts working around. So I'm gonna have the chat box closed unless a moderator kind of steps in. But if you do have questions, I'll answer them at the end. Since it's going to be full screen, I won't be able to really see anything at the moment. But I'm not going to mute anybody. So if you have any questions, feel free just to stop me if I'm going too fast, or if you want to wait till afterwards, I can go ahead and answer those too. All right. All right. Well, it's 1:57. I won't take too much of your time, so we can go ahead and get started. So appreciate your time, everybody. Hey, Valentine. So appreciate your time, guys. And Mr. Valentine Getter posted the professional development workshop number right there, just in case you haven't checked in. So he can go ahead and you can go ahead and click that if you need the workshop number.
Yes, I went ahead and shared the professional development registration information and also checking code TECH24. Make sure you use that to be able to participate in our raffles at the end of the day. Thank you so much, Miguel. I'm so happy that I'm here with you. Let me know in the chat because I'm monitoring 3 sessions at a time, but I'll be here for you paying attention.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Valentine. The first session went extremely well, so I think this one should even be even better. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started at the moment right now. I appreciate your time. So for those of you that don't know me, I know Miss Alejandro pretty well, but my name is Miguel Torres. I teach social studies 11th and 12th grade at PSJA, early college high school. So I'm at the comprehensive campus. But for today's instruction, I'm going to give you a few social studies kind of examples. I know I put social studies in ELA, but everything is interchangeable. Just because I'm using social studies words, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to use that. What we're going to be working on and being aligned with is with artificial intelligence. And what Magic School does and what Copilot do is it incorporates AI to help us facilitate making curriculum, lesson planning. We used it a lot during our curriculum writing during the summer. It helps us plan. And I'm just going to say the more intentional you are with it and the more specific you are, it's going to help you immensely. It helps make you lesson plans and everything. So especially maybe I feel like it helps everybody, especially those who are novice teachers as well, especially because they might have problems or difficulties planning and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to give you a short presentation. Well, it's kind of short, but not really. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a presentation with you all. And for those of you just logged in, if you want to create a username using your school credentials, you can go ahead and do that as well. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Magic School does first. I'm going to tell you about introduce you to AI, and then I'm going to go ahead and teach you a little bit about Magic School. Then I'm going to transition to Copilot and how you can integrate both of them together to help you with your lesson planning and so forth. It helps you with a lot of different things, such as differentiation. If you have EBs, if you have students with special needs and so forth, it'll definitely help you out in terms of planning your day-to-day, planning your week, and also planning your semester in terms of pace. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at our presentation real quick. All right. Everybody should be able to see that. All right, like I said, this is going to be Magic School meets Copilot. I know I didn't put Magic School on our official title for the registration, but I feel like I had to incorporate it just to let you know how it helps Copilot go hand in hand. So this is elevating your lesson with AI innovation. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Basically, what we're doing is this kind of like GIF illustration is just kind of showing you like, hey, if you have no support, you're almost basically not going to be able to use AI, and therefore you might hit the ground, right? So that's what it's pretty much illustrating. It's kind of like navigating a maze, but once you know what you're actually doing, it essentially will help you out in the long run. It's nothing that should be scared. I feel like we shouldn't use yesterday's tactics to teach the kids of today in terms of just simple reading and writing. I feel like it's a little monotonous. I feel that we should have a little bit of sort of engagement when we're using these different modes of AI. All right, so what we're going to do, and this is today's agenda, I'm going to introduce you to AI. We're going to use AI in education. We're going to see the uses of it. We're going to see Microsoft Copilot, and we're going to see Magic School, as I explained in the beginning. And also, we're going to have how do you use effective prompting strategies. In terms of effective prompting strategies, that's what I meant earlier in terms of being as specific as possible to get the ultimate results that you actually need. For instance, if you have 8th graders, you want to type, show me the Magna Carta with 8th grade students using a Lexile level of 900, and show strategies for EBs and SPED students for differentiation, and it will give you those prompts. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the TEKS. We use something during curriculum. We had the TEKS resource systems. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that is in a little while. And we're going to show types of educational tools generated by AI. And that's going to be mostly through Magic School. All right, so here we go. So what is AI? Those of you that have already used it, those of you in curriculum, you pretty much already know. Miss Alejandro did a great job in terms of letting us know how to use it and maximize it for our curriculum for this year. So it's basically the ability of machines to perform tasks and typically require human intelligence, right? So machine learning, natural language processing. So what I mean by natural language processing, it won't come out so robotic or so computery. Whenever I do say something like the audience we're speaking to, and let's just say they're eighth graders, it literally will give you the language processing of an eighth grade student with that Lexile level. Why AI in education? Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to personalize learning efficiently and student engagement, which means when we use AI in education, it basically means there's equity in teaching on a daily basis, meaning you can have the same lesson for students of all learning capacities and all language levels. So it's really there to help you instead of giving you one fundamental, paper or note for all students to basically learn. You can customize it towards your students, and the students will be able to you'll be able to customize the learning ability and Lexile levels and it will be the same content. So it's personalized learning. Basically, it's adaptive. Like I just said, it creates student equity, has intelligent tutoring systems. The other thing too is it has automatic grading and feedback, which means I'm going to show you in a moment how you export certain kind of topics. I'm sorry, certain kind of quizzes and assessments. You can have instant feedback by transferring them to Google Forms, Microsoft. You can print it out if you want to, but doing it through Google Forms and so forth, and using the using technology, it's able to grade it, and the answers are already embedded when they do get transferred. The students don't know that the obviously the answers are shown to you, but when you export things, it automatically just sends it to Google Forms, and basically students are able to answer. You can use it as an entry ticket, an exit ticket. You can even use it as an assessment during the lecture. So you get automatic grading. So you don't have to go home. It saves you time. That's what AI is for. It's really there to help you save time. And it's also there to give you information to give you ideas for lesson planning and so forth. So you don't have to do the same thing as last year or the year before, right? You don't have to print out the same papers. You don't have to do the same thing. It gives you timely feedback to the students. They'll get to know exactly what they got right and what they got wrong, depending on the settings that you want to put it on. And it's a resource. It helps you save time, like I said, lesson planning. It helps you with emailing. You can even translate the text. So whatever text that you actually want to have, you can even translate it. You can even translate the text. Let's just say you have an EB, a person that barely came to your class, barely new to the country. I've had a few of those students last semester that come in, in the middle of the year. You can translate the text just to help them out so that they're at least getting the same information, but they can at least have something that they can relate to. And as you move them towards learning the English language. And there's different types of AI. You can create images. I didn't get to do that last session. I ran out of a little time, but I'm going to show you how you can create images, text generating, and there's teacher tools. Creating images is really good, especially if you have a word wall. And if you have some of these students that, they need a little bit of help. If I have the word democracy and a student doesn't necessarily know what it looks like, well, you can create an image basically on Copilot. You can also do the same thing on Magic School. And when you create these images, you can put them on your word wall. You can do that so that the students can kind of make a connection so that when they're looking around the room, they can finally be like, oh, okay, whether they're really cognitively thinking about it, it's in the back of their mind. It's giving them some sort of visual illustration and association with the words that you actually have. So again, what I'm going to go over is I'm just going to tell you a few things, and then I'm going to give you the practical information about it. I'm just going over just the small things, and then I'm going to give you the practical use of the tools that I'm talking about. There's level text, which basically means, like I said, you can change the Lexile level. You just got to be specific. If you have a student in the 10th grade, but with an 8th grade reading level, you can go ahead and put the 8th grade Lexile level on it, and it'll, using Copilot or Magic School, it'll transcribe the text basically upon that student's reading ability. So it's for multi-level readers, like I just kind of mentioned. It's good for quizzes and assessments. I'm telling you, we're going to go over how you can export some of these assessments, whether it's general or it's summative. You can even do open-ended questions and so forth. There's rubrics and grading. So you can actually create a rubric for yourself or even for your students. When you give it to, you can even give your students a rubric at the end or, at the back end of an assignment so that they can progress, whether they're proficient or not proficient or basically accomplished. So it kind of, you can kind of do all of these things with the students kind of having in mind, like, what's their pathway? All right. So I'm just going to break down what Magic School is really quick. I'm going to give you the benefits of what it's doing, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you a couple of things that it does, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what a Copilot can actually do. And we used a lot of this, like I said earlier, we use a lot of it during curriculum writing. So what Magic School AI is, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but essentially what it is, it's AI technology, and it uses GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, which are basically the engines that basically create this foundational AI work, but it's modeled towards teaching. And unlike ChatGPT, and unlike basically other types of AI, what this is modeled for is it's modeled for teachers, and it's a model for administrators and for teachers. It's giving you the framework to help you with essentially almost anything that you're doing, and it saves you a lot of time. And these are the benefits for it. It's efficient planning. You know, you uh, we have a lot of planning to do, and some of us that teach multiple subjects, it has a lot of diverse tools, right, and customization and assessments. You can use Magic School, and what you can actually end up doing is you can customize it towards your way of teaching. You don't have to use it exactly. You can always modify it. It's simplifying the workload. There's prompts already. Whenever there's something that you're like, oh, I don't know what to ask them for an entry ticket or an exit ticket, or I don't know how to gain their attention in terms of like, what are some high order thinking questions? Well, you can actually, they have pre-prompts already for you, and it also kind of gives you the answers to the pre-prompts. So if you're looking for something and you want to know, and you're looking for what kind of expectations, it gives you the prompt. You can ask the students that prompt, and then essentially it's giving you the answers that, it's only showing it to you, what you might expect students to say for your understanding of their mastery. The last part, it's engaging learning environment. It's dynamic, it's enjoyable, it's more interactive than just, possibly death by PowerPoint or just, looking at a book and writing. And I'll show you some of the tools in a moment. I don't have enough time to show you all the tools, but what you can do later on after this session is go around and mess with it. I'm going to go ahead and forward these slides to either Valentin Guerra or Debbie Pengel. So when I get a list of the participants in here, it'll be made available for you all. So you can go ahead and check this stuff out, just in case you're kind of I'm going too fast, or maybe you missed something. And it's also being recorded by Mr. Valentin Guerra. So if you want to take a look back, he's going to have it uploaded. Okay, so what you're looking at and what I'm going to show you in just a second is this is what the tools and resources of the front page of Magic School look like. If you didn't click the hyperlink that I sent you, you can go ahead and just Google Magic School AI. Currently, our school has we have a license for it. We have the premium version. It might not be around too long. We might have the free version, which means everything's the same. The only thing is we have limited space and storage, meaning the last 5 assessments you make will be saved on the free version, whereas if we had the premium one, you would have unlimited. So my advice to you all is when we go over Magic School right now, anything that you use it for, upcoming to the beginning of the school year, save everything on a PDF. Do as much as you possibly can with what we have. And if you can, just save everything and so you can have it saved for, next semester or next year and so forth. All right, so
Yes, real quick on that, Miguel. Yes, we actually, our trial expired for the enterprise version, but they haven't taken it out. So yes, use it as much as you can. But when it goes out, you can still copy and paste, even though it won't transfer to a document or a PDF.
Okay.
They will be able to copy and paste, still use all the tools and everything. It's just the transfer, some of the things that they get with premium will be out.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Mr. Aguirre. All right, just like Mr. Valentin said, we still have it even though it expired. So try to use it as much as you possibly humanly can, and save as much as you can, and save it as a PDF. And let your other colleagues know too. I know some of your colleagues aren't going to be in this session, but hey, if you take anything away from the session, say, hey, this is kind of a website. This is something that we're using. Maybe this is something you want to look at, and use it to the best of your abilities. So it's basically just helping us with this is the dashboard. It helps us out. It has tools. It's including lesson planning, assessment, writing, communication. It has a lot of student components. So let me give you an idea, and I'm going to walk you through this, but I'm actually going to show you how it actually works in the practical sense. Okay, so let's just go ahead on the top left where it says select a tool. I'm going to go ahead. A lot of us make multiple choice assessments. I know these don't have they don't have a visual to it, and we can make visuals later, and I'll show you if I have a moment, like the stimulus, which a STAR exam would have. But just these questions, you can actually create these questions, and actually you can put a depth of knowledge that you actually want. So if you want DOK1, you can type bottom right here on number 2 where it says, we're going to use an exemplar, meaning it's just an example. But you can actually just, where it says diagnostic assessment of the process of mitosis, you can delete that and just put whatever you want, whether it's going to be, and I'm going to use more social studies terms. I'm going to say, what was the outcome, the causes and effect of World War II? You can go ahead and put that and it'll create questions. Now, if you look where number 2 is, you can change it by grade level on the drop-down menu. And I'll show you that in a second. And then you can also change the number of questions. You can go between 5 and 20 questions. So whenever you use the exemplar, it's just going to show you like, hey, what can you do with it? And if you look at number 3, where it says assessment is created, so our input was the question, what is the assessment, diagnostic assessment of the process of mitosis? On the right side, where we see the output, it's going to give you the 5 questions. And it actually gives you the answers at the very bottom right. Now, what you can do is you can, if you see the box on the right, on the side in red, you can export those. You can create a Google Docs, and you can share it with your students as Google Docs, like as a classroom assignment. Or if you want to make it even quicker and you want more instant feedback, maybe because it's 5 questions, maybe you want to do it as a do now or next to take it, you can do it export to Google Forms. You can also do Microsoft Forms. You can even do it on Word. And you can even print it. If you don't want students to use online tools to, potentially cheat or look up the answers or anything like that, and, maybe you want to print it out. Maybe you want to do Microsoft Word. So that gives you the option, and I'm going to show you how you can actually export that stuff in a minute. And it gives you the key at the bottom. Whenever you do export things to like Google Forms and Microsoft Forms, the answers are already embedded. So whenever the student answers, you get instant feedback right away. So if the student misses, it takes 5 minutes to take 5 questions, you already have it signed, you already have everything saved, and then you can already put it in your grade book. And you can give the students more retries depending on the settings that you want to put it on. All right, so that's how you do the multiple choice assessment. You get to change it by grade, number of questions. I just showed you the exemplar, and it's going to give you these questions, but you want to make sure that you're putting the TEK that you're using. So if you're teaching US history like I am this semester, I'm going to go ahead and put the exact TEK that I need my students to master that I've just gone over. And if I'm missing something and I'm seeing it and I'm exporting it to Google Forms and I'm seeing that the students are getting them like incorrect, then I have to think about myself and go, maybe I need to reteach something. So you can put, I would suggest you just put the exact TEK. And I'm going to show you how to put the exact TEK using our TEKS resource systems in just a minute. All right, so this is another one. I'm only going to show you 3 different tools for Magic School. This is the second one. So those of you that like to have your students having visual, those visual learners, what you can take a look at is there's an option on the left that, it says YouTube video questions. You put your input on number 2 where it says, where's the video ID or the URL? So you go on YouTube and you can do the same thing. How many questions you want? You can actually do multiple choice, open-ended questions where the drop-down button is for question type, or true and false. So there's three different types of modes of question types. So um, maybe actually if you want to export it, like on the right side on the output, maybe you want to export it as a Google Doc. So while you're showing like a documentary or something, the URL that you're inputting already generated those questions on the right side, and it gave you the answer key as well. Now, I just have to preface this real quick. Whenever you do see the video and you see it for yourself prior to presenting, make sure that the questions are kind of aligned with the video and make sure that the answers are correct. That's everything to do with AI is always double check. Make sure that you're doing your due diligence to make sure, because nothing's 100%, but it's pretty accurate. So just in terms of when you're creating your own content and implementing it, always take a look, even for the multiple choice that I was explaining to you all. Just make sure you're doing your part just to make sure that everything is clear. All right, let's go to the last one real quick. And this one is this one's kind of cool. This one is it's called the standards unpacker on the left side where number one is. I'm just showing you these three tools. Magic School has probably about 20 different tools, probably even a little bit more. So when the standards unpacker, if you take a look at number two where the input is, if I just used, I was using basically TEACS 8.7a for student expectations, right? And so it says analyze the impact and tariff policies and sections of the United States before the Civil War. When you unpack that TEAC, it gives you a breakdown of what skills your students should have, the knowledge, the concepts they should have, what they should be able to define, and what are the formula learning targets, right? And so it's basically also giving you a summarization at the very bottom, basically kind of explaining to you what your students should actually be able to accomplish. And I'm going to show you how to use that too using TEACS Resource Center. So I think that's kind of interesting because it's a way to measure your own progress with your students. And if you know that you're not hitting one of those things, and let's just say you are star testing, or this even works somewhat for AP. AP doesn't have TEACS, but you can kind of put the standards that they have there. And I've already kind of tested it out, and for the most part, it works almost identical actually. But those are global standards, so it's a little different. So the output shows you what your expectations of the student should be and what your expectations should be when you're teaching the students. All right. So let me go ahead and show you that. That was kind of like the portion of me explaining what it's all about. Let me go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share with you my screen. All right. Okay, so for those, if you just want to go ahead and Google Magic School AI, if you haven't gone there before, or you can click the hyperlink in which I sent you, this is what the dashboard looks like that I was just talking about right now. All right, so it has a lot of different tools. You can do DOK questions. And so what I did for curriculum writing was my entry tickets were typically a depth of knowledge 1 or 2, and then my exit tickets were always typically depth of knowledge 3 or 4, because I know at the end of a lesson, that's what I would want them to accomplish. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. We have the multiple choice assessment. That was the first one that we went over. DOK was the second one we went over. And for the last part, it was YouTube. And so this is the YouTube questions that we have. So let me show you how it works in its practical sense. All right. So let me go ahead and show you. Let me go back to tools. And let me go to multiple choice. So if you're going to create a multiple choice, select the grade that you're at, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just put 8th grade. You have the drop-down menu between 5 and 20 questions right here, right? And so let me go ahead and use the exemplar. That's just the example that, and this one's going to say the same thing that I took a screenshot of: diagnostic assessment about the following standards, mitosis, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to put the exemplar, and let's just see what it comes out with. And we're going to put generate. And there we go. So if you were an 8th grade biology or a 9th grade bio 1 teacher and you're teaching about mitosis and how to separate chromosomes and so forth, and you just want a quick checkup, like this can be a general or kind of like a small formal like daily quiz or something. It gives you the answers right here, and this is where I'm seeing where I want to explain to you. This is where you export, right? So at the bottom right here, it's going to show you whether you want to export to Google Docs, Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, and Microsoft Word, whether you want to print it out for your students. Obviously, when you do all that, it's not going to show you, it's not going to show the answer key to the students. So you don't have to worry about it. Like, you don't have to like just say like, you don't have to type in like, can you please give me the questions without the answers being shown? Now, everything that you're doing, the questions won't be allowed for the students. So on the bottom left and the bottom right, it gives you more. There's like more tools. And just because I was asking, what's the association with mitosis and so forth, it gives you additional prompts. Like you can even ask the students a different question. Like maybe that was your entry ticket. Maybe this is the exit. You can be like, hey, can you explain the significance of each phase? You can go ahead and just put, you know what? Certainly. So it's going to go ahead and ask additional questions. And I know this is just over. I know I'm not a science teacher and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and use like, let me use like a ELA prompt, right? I'm not really well versed, but let's just say, what was the effect on Romeo and Juliet in society? So if you're an English teacher, you can go ahead and even put like, if you're a 9th grade English teacher, ELA teacher, you can go ahead and, whatever prompt that you're going over, you can actually also put the teak that you want there at the bottom. It doesn't have to be just like a general phrase that I'm talking about. It can be anything that you want. And later on in a bit, if you want to go a bit further, I'm going to show you how you can actually add a stimulus to this, meaning what's a photo to it, right? And it'll basically, it can really help out, especially the EBs. Okay. So I know I can't see the chat at the moment, but if you do have any questions, I'll get right back to it. So that was multiple choice.
There is no questions on the chat, Miguel.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Alejandra. Okay, so that was
Mr. Guerra.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay, guys. So that's how multiple choice works. All right. So remember, if you're going back to the Magic School front page, if you're looking just like at the basically these are the resources. And what I did was I went through multiple choice. Okay, I'm going to go through the next two, try to do it a little quickly, but trying not to lose you. So let me go ahead and show you. This was our YouTube questions right here. Okay, so some of us have, like, I have 90-minute classes. It's hard to keep their attention. I got to show something, whether it's CNN 10, which gives you the news in 10 minutes, or whether I have to show videos on Crash Course to my AP students. So I want to go ahead and I want to show you, you can do the same thing. If you look at the drop-down menu, you have free response, you have true or false, and you have multiple choice. We already did multiple choice. Let me go ahead and just put free response. And let me go ahead and put 5 questions. All right, so like change it up a little bit. You don't want to give your kids just multiple choice after multiple choice all the time, right? So, and what I'm going to do is I already selected a video. This is a crash course video that I selected over Manifest Destiny. This is something that they learn in 8th grade, and they continue to learn it when they're in also 10th grade as well, actually throughout all of secondary school. It's tested on our EOC. So what I'm doing is I'm going to a video. I'm sorry, I just skipped through it because there was an ad at the beginning, so I just kind of skipped through it. So I'm copying the URL at the very top. And so Crash Course is basically, if you haven't gone to it before, it basically gives you lessons on multiple subjects in about 15 minutes or less. Now, you want to click the URL, but I also want to tell you guys, if the video is like too long, like over 20 minutes, Magic School can't really extrapolate and can't really like process that long of a video. So you want to make sure they're like 15 minutes or less, and it will generate questions based off of it. So I copied the URL and I put 8th grade. It's a Manifest Destiny. It's a free response, 5 questions. And let's just say you can let's just go ahead and put the link. Let's generate it, give it a second. Okay, so these are all free response questions, right? And it tells you the timestamp, like it tells you it's between 22 seconds to 45 seconds. That's the answer that they should have for number one. For number two, describe the role of Stephen A. Austin in the settlement of Texas. How did his actions impact Mexico? It tells you right here, between 157 and 233. What you can actually do is, since you have the answer key, you can stop the video and go, hey, did everybody get that after 45 seconds? And if somebody didn't get it, you can go right back and just say, all right, we'll talk to a shoulder partner, or you can just kind of reverse it. Same thing. So the answer key gives you the, and see, it was seamless. All I did was copy and paste the link, and it already generated questions. You don't have to see, you don't have to pause the video yourself and break it down. You can just, if you've seen the video, obviously you want to make sure that, the answers are correct first and foremost before you give it to the students, but it breaks everything down. So that was open-ended. You can remember, mind you, you can do multiple choice, you can do true and false, and then you can also do open-ended. And, when you're giving these questions to the students, they're working on their writing fluency. Like, you can tell them, this is the part, I'm not saying use only the computer, use only technology. No, what you can do is have them write this down. So have all the questions already prompted on the board, have them already written down on, on the smart beam. And then what you can do is have the students basically write this down. So they're working on their writing fluency as well. So it doesn't have to just be them typing or them looking it up online on a new tab or anything. All right. So that was YouTube. Remember, you can go ahead and it was this one right here, YouTube video questions. That was the second one. I'm going to go to the third one, and then we're going to hit up on Copilot and see how we can integrate both of them together. So that was YouTube questions. Remember, everything has a drop-down menu. And the reason that you want to pick the grade level is because it gives it the correct lexile in terms of like the student's language fluidity that it should have. You can pick a lower grade level. If I have a 10th graders who have an 8th grade reading level, then you can go ahead and put 8th. It just breaks things down a little to the lexile vocabulary a little bit lower. All right, let me go to the last one. Okay, this is awesome. This is depth of knowledge questions, and you should really be using this in terms of maybe, I know I've been saying this, but really like what I like to do is my entry ticket is like DOK 1 or 2, and then DOK like 3 or 4 at the end of the lesson, because I want the students to basically use that high level thinking, even if they have to ask a partner or work in groups. I just want them to basically be able to analyze and create rather than just memorize. So I mentioned this earlier, and we have this program. Correct me if I'm mistaken, Miss Alejandra. Do all teachers have TEKS resources systems, or is it only curriculum coordinators?
It's all across the high schools.
Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am. So, teachers and everybody, you log in with TEKS resources systems. It's something that we were rolling out this year, and you log in with your PSJA credentials. So, like whatever your username and password are for TEKS resource systems, it gives you a lot of information in terms of like how to align your standards, maybe horizontally, vertically. And it gives you a lot of in-depth information about the TEKS that you're using. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use depth of knowledge, and let me go ahead and just pick a TEK. I know I've been talking about westward expansion, so let me go ahead and just pick grade 8, and let me see. And let me just refresh this one moment. I'm going to go ahead and just pick grade 8. I'm going to go ahead and put social studies because that's what I do. And that's what basically my presentation is on. But mind you, you can do anything. You can even do math. You can do anything with this. I know my title said ELA and social studies, but this really goes for everybody. So if you see a colleague that's in science or in math, you can share this with them as well. Everybody has access. So let's go ahead and search. So remember, we're looking at depth of knowledge. You want to mess around with this website a little bit. I know it's kind of like I'm just kind of throwing it on you, but as we get towards the school year, maybe you want to ask our coordinator specialist, like even Miss Alejandra herself, or maybe your department curriculum writers that went to summer school. They should know about it. One of the things I want to do is when I look for depth of knowledge, and this is how I was creating the summer curriculum, was I look for clarification, right? So I'm going to go ahead and look at Teek's clarification, and I'm going to look at manifest destiny. So I'm going to see what Teak manifest destiny actually is, right? So I can go ahead and read, but I already kind of did the research, and I already know it's on. I just changed tabs, but I already know it's Teak 8.6b. All right, so what you can actually do you can just kind of copy and paste. This is the whole take for Manifest Destiny. And you want to see like if your students can master, like, let's just say like, what do I want them to do? What do I need them to, for depth of knowledge? What should they be able to master? I just copied the teak. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put DOK. So depth of knowledge, we have depth of knowledge of 1 through 4, 1 being the lowest and 4 being the highest in terms of Bloom's taxonomy. In terms of student or learning retainment. So I just went ahead and I copied and pasted. I just put westward growth, the nation, that's the teak, and it has everything there that they should be able to master. So I'm going to put generate. So remember, this is the last, this is only the third one I'm talking about. All right. So when I copied the teak and I put it on DOK questions, mind you, it doesn't have to be the teak. You can actually just put what is mitosis or what was westward expansion, and it will give you the same thing. I just kind of wanted to highlight a little bit of the teak's resource system that we went over because it's available to everybody. And I think you should be able to look at it because whatever is there, your students should be able to master. Okay, so if you want to start with recall, recall, calculate, define, identify, it gives you the DOKs for that teak. Like, okay, what was the first one? Maybe that's the intro question you want to ask your students when they walk in. DOK2, maybe in the middle of the lesson, compare the motivations, right, of the Louisiana Purchase. Level 3, all right, let's assess, let's investigate, let's formulate. Maybe if it takes more than one class period, do it the next time. So you can say, hey guys, we already learned how to recall. We know how to classify and compare and contrast. Now let's go ahead and assess. And then when you're finishing, whether it's the same lesson on the same day or not, you want to make sure that they at least hit that DOK level 4, especially, for those, extremely important tested subjects, because that's the verbiage is being used on our new exams. So where it says analyze, critique, create, design, apply. So the same kind of tool is down here at the bottom. Like, hey, can you provide examples of DOK3? You can also say, you can also, if you wanted to, it gives you examples of all 4. If you want to just have only DOK1s, for those emerging bilinguals, or if you just to get them started off, you can just say, show me DOK1 with this teak, and it'll give you just DOK1s. If you want to just level it up, say only show me DOK2s. So I feel like this is a good tool for teachers to in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the lesson, because you can start to basically formulate your lesson plan that way. All right. Okay, so there we have it. I know I went a little fast, but those were the 3 that we looked at. We looked at DOK questions, we looked at multiple choice assessments, and we also looked at YouTube, at the YouTube question videos. All right. So there's a lot of tools. I can go on, and I can give you, it would take half a day, but I just wanted to show you those 3 because I think those 3 are really vital. And I think that's what I'm really going to be focusing on this next semester when I go to, back to campus. Check it around, go to it. Mr. Valentin Guerra said that, although the license expired, they still haven't taken it away from us. So try to use as much as you possibly can, spread the word to your colleagues and so forth. All right. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Now let's go to Copilot real quick. And I know I'm running out of time, so this might be a little fast. And all right, so that was our Magic School portion, and let's go to the prompt for lesson planning and activities, right? So there's my Tom Cruise gifts that I keep using, but anyways, what we're going to do is we want you to define clear objectives, be specific. I want you to know who your audience is, especially like Magic School. We said 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I had like I said, a participant last session that she does PK3. It's vital. What she was doing was it's her first year, and she didn't know what a learning circle was, so she used a Copilot to basically say, help me make a learning circles for PK3 students. And I got a message on Teams, and she was like, "Wow, like I didn't know. Like I thought I had to read books about this." I'm like, "No, no. Like it's very thorough." So you're going to incorporate differentiating learning. Like you can actually ask a Copilot, create a lesson plan for 45 minutes talking about the Magna Carta, and also include activities for EBs and SPED students. And it will give you those, it will tell you, and I'm going to give you a quick guide on how it works. We're gonna explore AI tools for lesson creation. We're gonna engage students with AI content, right? So I'm going to show you, just like the last couple of slides, I show you what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to use the practical effects on it. And I know I got probably about 17 minutes, so I'm going to try to make this quick. So when we use AI, you want to be specific. So my prompt at the top is pretty specific, saying create a 3-tier leveled reader with the westward growth of the nation, including the Louisiana Purchase and Manifest Destiny, right? The audience, see, I'm being specific, is 8th grade students. You all want to keep being specific, because if you're not specific, the wording can be more difficult, less difficult. And then you also want to say some of the students are emergent bilingual students. The maximum level is 200 maximum words for below level, and 300 for maximum words, which is advanced level. I'm sorry, and at a level of 300 maximum words, and the advanced level is 400. So I'm asking it 2 questions, and I'm showing it the teak that I wanted to follow. Follow this teak. So we're talking about Manifest Destiny, the same teak that I just showed and copied and pasted for my DOK. I'm using the same teak. So the Louisiana Purchase, this is the below level. I said, remember, it's the same information, but let's just say below level, and that's just I mean, I could have worded it probably a little differently, but let's just say you do have EBs, or let's just say students have dyslexia, and you need to put it like in a way that they can read it easier. But it's going to be the same information as the advanced. It's just putting it in their capacity, their mental fortitude. So it gives you 200 words. So all of these are up to 200. They might, one of them, there are, 177 words, but it's giving you the information that you wanted, and it's giving you the teak, and it's giving you the summary. All right. So the input is very specific. 3-tiered level reading. 8th grade students is our audience. We have emergent bilingual students, 200 words for below, 400 words for advanced. So I only showed you below. Right here is advanced, the output right here. So this is, or the medium is 300 words at level, right? It's at level. And then if you have students that are having a higher lexile and understanding, you can put it to 400. So you're giving the same students all of the same work, and so it's creating equity. So there's nothing that like the student that is below level not necessarily getting that's different from advanced level. It's just creating the verbiage and the lexile level to be a little higher. You might have those students in class, you don't want to bore them, and some students you don't want to leave behind by giving them all of the same standard material. So this is a way that you can actually bring equity in the classroom in terms of being like, okay, it's below, at level, advanced. The students don't know that they have different work. You can just give them, you can share this on Google Docs. You can give it to certain students, like the way that you can give certain students things in our Google Classroom, right? So the students are all having kind of equity in this. All right, so that's kind of like how multi-level readers work. You gotta be specific, put in the teak, put in what you want, be specific, who's your audience, what kind of readers are they, and then tell us the content that you want. Okay, there's another one that I want to show you really quick. Here's another prompt I'm giving Copilot. After students read a 3-tiered text, create an activity using the text they just read. Using the text they read. This is for 8th grade students. I'm being specific again, explaining the Louisiana Purchase and Manifest Destiny. Not only do we want students to explain the events, we also want, but also how these events affected the United States history and government. Use teaks, and I'm using the same teak I did before, 8.6b. So it's giving me an activity, and it's giving me the materials, and it's telling me the group formation. Like if you had no idea what the Louisiana Purchase was, and you just woke up in the morning and you're like, oh, I didn't study for that, and you know what? it's here to help you. And even if you do know what it was and you were prepared and you're like, man, last year's lesson didn't go so well. What do I do this time? Go ahead and you can actually use this to your advantage, going like, I didn't think of that. So, it tells you the materials you need, chart paper, markers, puzzles. It tells you the instruction, tells you the group formation, discussion, puzzle creation. It can really give you different activities. And if you don't like the activity, you can put the same prompt and just put different activity. And so instead of a puzzle creation, it can start, maybe it'll give you something to do with anchor charts or jigsaw jigsawing. So that's another thing we can do. Entry tickets, you know what? Create a short open-ended response and remember, I'm saying open-ended response. I could have said multiple choice where 8th grade students can explain prior knowledge of what they think. And this is a math question, or what slope is. So if you have an 8th grade student or, even Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 students that are tested, they still need to know what slope is. So you put in the TEAK. Remember, it's always important to put your audience, your type of questioning, and put the TEAK at the very end. Copilot will identify the TEAK. And so what it's doing right here is these are open-ended responses saying, what does the slope represent? That can be your entry ticket. And then let's just say if you are looking for the appropriate answers that you're looking for students, these bullet points that you're actually seeing under 1 and under 2 and under 3 and under 4, those are the answers. So if you think an answer is kind of wishy-washy or you don't really necessarily know the answer, or a student comes up with a really smart answer that you're kind of like, well, let's investigate that together. Well, that happens a lot to me, but this is kind of giving you a clear-cut picture of what you should be looking out for. In terms of what does slope represent? How can you calculate slope? You can do this for anything. You can do this for English, math, science, anything. So using Copilot and being specific is kind of the one thing that I would recommend. Okay, so this is probably the second to last slide that I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to try to show you how to use it practically. Okay, you can even ask it, you know what, you want to have an activity, you don't know what to do, you gave your guided instruction, students are done. Well, how about you just, you can type, what are 10 exciting think, pair, share prompts for 8th grade science students about modern cell theory, right? And then you put the TEAK. So we put our audience, we put exactly how many questions we want, think, pair, share. We put the TEAKs right there. Make sure, and what you can do is make sure no activity is longer than 5 minutes. Now, this is super important because those of you that teach for 45 minutes, you should put in the prompt, make a 15-minute, a guided lesson, or make it a 15-minute activity or a poster activity. It will literally tell you how long it should be. So this one's saying no more than 5 minutes, right? So it's giving you 10 different examples. And what I really like about Copilot is it kind of has like the DOKs kind of in there. Like it says the word imagine, explore, investigate. So, and reflect at the bottom too. So what it's doing is it kind of tells you're already using the DOKs just by using this AI. And now the last thing is it gives you all these activities and it just tells you, discuss with the class, and so forth. The only thing I'm going to tell you though, when using any kind of AI in general, on the right side, I won't spend too much time on it. There are some, when you upload photos, and I'll see if I have enough time to upload some photos for you right now. Sometimes like, things are misspelled. And the reason things are misspelled is when you look up images through AI is because copyright infringement from textbooks. So they have to sometimes purposely misspell things. And so make sure when you upload any kind of photo using AI, and it does have something like the cell theory or what it looks like inside of a cell, make sure you kind of go over it first in case you're quizzing your kids. You don't want them to kind of like, kind of make a mistake. All right, and same thing. This is lesson planning, and I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. This is lesson planning, 3 group activities for 8th graders. Use this TEAKS, 15 minutes or less, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and show you right now, and I'm going to have this presentation. It's recorded, and I'm going to show Mr. Valentin get it. I'm going to make a PDF for him, and I'm going to make sure he disseminates it towards all of you watching. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. All right. running out of time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a little bit about Copilot. So let's go ahead and go on Copilot. So Copilot is basically, it's almost like a search engine. Let's just go ahead for the sake of time. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's make a lesson plan. I'm going to say create a lesson plan that is for 45 minutes long for 8th grade students over the Magna Carta. Create activities for EB and SPED students as well. And then you can even go as further as saying Lexile level of, let's just say 1100. That might actually be a little too high for 8th graders, but let's go ahead and see what it says. So here's a 45-minute lesson plan. See, it's already creating what you need. It creates an activity, it creates group activity, and it creates like adaptive activities for EBs and so forth, right? And this is an extension activity as well. So what I did was I was being very specific, 45-minute long, 8th grade students over the subject, and then create also lesson plans for EB, SPED students with a Lexile level. You don't have to put the Lexile level if you don't want to. It gives you your objective. You all can use that as your CO and your LO. It tells you your key concepts and vocabulary. Those can be your word walls for the day or for the week. It tells you what's your material needed. It gives you even the material here is actually the worksheet that it's actually telling you to go to. It gives you the introduction, show this video, group activity, divide students into groups, provide excerpts, adaptive activities for EBs and SPED, have a whole class discussion, have a writing prompt, and boom, 45 minutes is good. Now, a lot of people last session were asking me, what's the difference between ChatGPT and Copilot? Well, Copilot actually gives you the references at the bottom. See, so it's kind of like Wikipedia. You know what you're actually getting instead of when you go to ChatGPT, you're not going to get the references. So, and if you're wondering how to access Copilot, you can just open your browser on Microsoft Edge. This little button right here, that's Copilot. You don't have to type Copilot like the way I did. So if you're wondering how to get to Copilot, we already have it, guys. It's already on your Microsoft Edge. Okay, I just did a lesson plan. Let me go ahead and one last thing because we're running out of time. I was showing you, let's just say, create an open-ended question for, and I'm only putting question. I'm it's only going to give me one for 10th graders over the Declaration of Independence. And you can even keep it simple. You can keep it general. You don't have to be super specific. But you want to go ahead and see what you can do. So it will say, what does the Declaration of Independence tell us about the United States? Provide examples and so forth, right? You can even say, after you use Copilot and it's giving you that response, you can actually incorporate that even in Magic School. And you can just say, provide me answers for the previous.
Miguel, real quick, just
Yeah.
we have like 4 minutes left before the session is over. I just wanted to thank everybody for participating and to please fill out the session evaluation and the end of the conference survey. Thank you so much. Remember to use the check-in code so you can be able to participate in the prizes raffled for door prizes. Thank you so much. You still have 4 minutes, so go ahead and use them. But I just wanted to ask everyone to please fill out the end of the conference survey to tell us how we did and how we can make some changes next year, and the session evaluation.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Valentine. All right. I know it was running a little quick on Copilot there. I just want to let you know it's all about specificity. It can make lesson plans. It can basically it can create activities. Be specific and be intentional with the students that you have. Everything can actually be working for your students. It provides equity. Also, like we were talking about with Magic School. Remember, you can create different kinds of Lexile levels. You can create all types of activities. You can get information from Copilot and how to differentiate. Real quick before we go, anybody have any last questions or anything of that nature? All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. I know we got short on time. Thank you all very much for attending. I sincerely appreciate your help. If you need anything, reach back to me. My name is Miguel Torres. I work at Early College High School, and the video recording Mr. Guetta is having right now. Fill out the form if you can, and my information should be, I believe, shown after the survey is done.